coin collectors, it's DC Coin World here, looking at the 1969 United States 5-cent coins. And we're going to look in specific at some 1969 S coins, because there's just something really weird going on with one of them. Sometimes we call it the Snake S, sometimes we call it the Long S. Oh, we haven't seen another one of them, and that's the one, and we will get to that in a second, the snake or weird S on there. But let's look at some of the other 1969 coins first. In 1969, there was not a Philadelphia Mint nickel put out. And of course, this is a 1969D. We look at the 1969D, and that kind of looks weird. A funny looking D on there. Now, some of these coins get worn down in a really strange way. So when we look at the 1969D, we see that it's a little bit worn. Let's see if we can find another D. And there's another one, a little bit different shape. 1969D, one of them sold for $30,000. One of the things that you have on a 1969 coin that's very different from many other nickels is the signature of the engraver. In 1938, Felix Schlag won the competition to engrave the United States nickel or 5-cent coin. Felix Schlag's initials are FS. His initials were never on the United States 5-cent coin until 1968. When you look at some of the older coins, so here's a 1964, you see that there is not anything underneath there. In fact, there's a little bit less space there. They've changed it up a little bit. But in 1964, of course, there's no mint mark there, but there's also no FS there. But the other thing that was big about the 1969D that was worth so much money, we can't even see on these 1969 coins, and that is the steps. Now, if you have a 1969D with full steps, and in 1969 that would have been 5 steps. So let's look. No way to see any of the steps on any of these. But this is where the steps would be. Let's look at a coin that does have steps on it, and I'll show you. This is a proof version. And if you look at this version, you can see very well that this has steps on it. What they do to measure the full steps is they actually count them. Let's look at the standard 1969 S, and you can see this one here. This is what the S should look like, much like this anyway. We see this one actually has its own little characteristics too. It almost looks like a 5, kind of shortened top, big fat bottom. When people said, can we see Snake S or Long S again? And here it is. And you can see that whatever happened to this coin, whether it was at the mint or afterwards, see, this one looks like it's got tramped down. This one looks like it got really long. So the nickels of this era do have some of their own individual characteristics on them. In 1969, they made $203 million almost at the Denver Mint. They made $120 million at the San Francisco Mint. And then they also made 2.9 million proof coins. So you can get a 1969 S proof coin. When you look at this, you'll see that it has wear all the way around it. Could the wear on here have caused this to lengthen? Could have done. If you look at the material, you see that it's the same material for all of them. It's a copper nickel. It weighs 5 grams, is 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and 1.75 millimeters in thickness. Now, we've had hundreds or maybe thousands of nickels that we've looked at, and we've never seen that kind of stretch on any of the other coins. If you see this one, this is a kind of, let's look through some of these 1969s. So this is another one with a D, kind of a funny D. Here's another one, another flattened D. So you do get some Ds that are kind of flattened and don't look much like Ds. This one kind of a thin D, not a thick D. Here's another one here, and this is a, look at that S. So we were up to 3 S's, and let's look at them. So this is kind of a standard S. This is the long S, and this is the short top S. So see how this one has a big top and a squished bottom. This one has a squished top and a longer bottom. So the 1969 S's do have some of their own kind of funky characteristics, but we've never seen another one like this. Let's find another one. There's a D, and of course that's a thin D again. This one, thin D, and this one, let's look. That's a thin D. So look at the 1969 Philadelphia one. Let me show you what that looks like. There it is. In 1969, there was not a Philadelphia Mint nickel put out. There are the 120 million of the San Francisco, 203 million of the Denver, and we don't have a Philadelphia Mint nickel from 1969. There's your S in 3 different versions. There's your FS underneath, and if you're looking for the full steps, which is also an FS, it'll look something like this. Thanks for watching the DC Coin World International channel. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you might have in the comments section.